Hey guys, I'm Lionheart and welcome to my channel. So glad I get to start my channel during my favorite time of the year, fall/Halloween time. So you know what that means, spoopy story time. Woo! Specifically, spoopy stories about when I was younger, living in my old house. So where I used to live, it was a single home in the back, and my neighbors over on this side were a little strange to say the least. The dad or grandpa of the family was like this voodoo witch doctor guy. We'll call him Mr. Shakes. He would bring people to his backyard and begin doing his healings or whatever and start his for like 20 minutes. This went on almost every other day, like at least 3 times a day. By the way, this was back when I was in summer before starting 6th grade, so I was fairly young, like 12 or so. At first, I didn't really think much of Mr. Shakes and his voodoo work up until 6th grade actually rolled around. I lived with my older brother and my mom. At the time, my mom was working from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., relying on public transportation to get her to and from work, which was miles away, so she had to be out of the house by 6 a.m. and wouldn't be home until sometime after 5 p.m. And as for my older brother, he had just started college and had to stay in the dorms for a year, so he was just gone, meaning I, waking up at around 6:30 a.m. and getting home at around 3 p.m., would wake up to an empty house and get home to an empty house. Again, I didn't really care. I was just like, okay. In the morning, I'd wake up and most of the time just turn on the computer and just stare at the screen soullessly until it was 7 a.m. and time to leave for school. Don't ask me why I did that. I don't know either. So, my house was pretty small. Here was the dining room / kitchen, the living room, the bathroom, and my room. My room layout was something like this: bed here, computer desk here, drawers and TV here, and closet here. The closet doors were kinda messed up, so the doors would never fully close, and if we ever succeeded in closing them, they'd probably creep open again. This was normal to us since they had been that way since we moved in back when I was 2. Nothing spoopy there. At least, that's what I thought. One day before starting school, I had woken up like at 6:20, tiny bit earlier, but whatever. Got up, got dressed, and began doing my usual stare at the screen thing. A few minutes in, I turned and faced the closet doors, and one of the doors was fully open. Now, I have somewhat of a bad memory, so I just thought I had forgotten to close it after putting my sheets away, so I just closed it as far as it can go and sat back down, facing towards the computer, like as if it was nothing. I was kinda hungry and still had about a half hour before I had to leave, so I went to get a quick snack, and I came back into the room 5 minutes later, only to see that both doors were a little bit more open than usual. Feeling a bit off, I decided to grab a chair and put it to the door so it won't open again. There, problem solved. They'll stay closed and I won't have to question anything anymore. I sat down and I sort of dozed off since I was still tired. I woke up about 10 minutes later and turned quickly to the doors just to make sure they were closed. They were. So I just thought, Good, good. The chair worked. I still had about 15 minutes before school time, so I just sat and continued to stare blankly at the time until it was 7. 5 minutes in, I heard a bit of a weird sliding noise and felt a chill at my back. I immediately turned around only to see that the chair was off to one side and both doors were completely open. I was like, ha, bye. I closed the doors and put the chair back as quickly as possible and bolted out of the only door we used for some reason. Did not care for what was next in that situation. Boy, I was gone. Surprised I even had the courage to come back home and be alone for 2 hours, but I did. And it wasn't too pleasant. I got home from school having that incident in my head like as if it was just some nightmare I had. I always use this time of silence to do my homework so I can spend the rest of the day playing video games. I know, I was so cool and had lots of friends I could have been hanging out with, but I wanted to be a nerd instead. No, that's a lie. I only had one friend in 6th grade, and we lived pretty far away and I didn't even have a phone. So, yeah. I began working on my homework and about 30 minutes in, I heard a noise coming from the living room, like a slow creaking of someone sitting on a bed. There was a bed in our living room since that's where my mom slept. I decided to go check it out. When I entered the room, the sheets on the bed were a bit wrinkled, so I fixed them. All the beds in my house, which are only 2, were always super well kept, especially since my mom is a clean freak, and so am I kind of. But I didn't think much of it since I hadn't even entered the room till now, and it could have been that way since the morning, or I don't know. I went back and finished my homework. After I was browsing through my many games to see what I would play, and as I was doing that, I heard another bed sitting creak, but this one sounded louder and longer than the other one. I went into the living room and saw a butt print on the edge of the bed, literally as if someone adult-sized had just sat on and off of the bed. The chills were intense, but I still fixed the bed, don't know why I even bothered, and went back into my room and just turned on the TV, put up the volume on it, and didn't leave my room till my mom got home. I tried telling her what happened, but of course, she didn't believe me. That was honestly not everything that has happened. That was just the beginning of what was to come, not only in the following weeks, but years even, up until we finally moved out. I still have a lot more to say, but I'm gonna save that for another video since this one is already pretty long. Next time I'll talk about not only other things that happened to me, but later to my brother, my mom, and my cousins that moved in with us a few years later. Anyway, if you don't want to miss out on part 2, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell too so you can be notified when I post my next video. I will very much appreciate it. Here's my social medias just in case you'd like to follow, and leave a like if you enjoyed my first ever video. I know it's not the greatest, but you know, I'm trying. I'm planning on getting one video out every 2 weeks or so, maybe more if I see I have the time. Leave a comment down below about what you thought, or if you have any spoopy stories of your own, I'd love to hear it. Alright, yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.